Tara, weather forecast today.
Today's forecast, a lot of sunshine, blue skies, marine clouds. Just the perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, but again, away feels like it's been a freaking decade.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a wonderful episode of The Social Beaches. I am Carolyn Smith.
And I'm Kelly Bowling.
Yep, and we are with the Coastal Estate Team. We sell real estate all along Brevard County and into Indian River County, Vero Beach, Melbourne Beach, Cocoa Beach, anywhere Space Coast or Treasure Coast. And we would love to help you buy or sell a home. But today we are going to talk about when the shit hits the fan.
And your real estate deal. So
Yeah.
There's so many ways that a deal can go sideways when you start off and you're so excited because you've got it under contract. And no matter how many people I get under contract on either side, listing or buying, I always get excited. Don't you still get excited? Yeah,
I get excited. And then I remember, which, it's not over till it's over.
Right.
Like, don't get excited until you're at the closing table. Everything's done.
And you have that Alta in your hand.
Yes. Everything's signed. Everything's done. Don't get excited, because I'll get excited and then I'm like, no, don't be excited.
No.
And I just had a deal fall apart, a deal that was for sure fall apart, like right before closing. And I'm like, yep, you can't count on these things.
So we're going to tell you all the ways that they can go sideways and maybe some ways to kind of like right the ship, if you can.
Yeah. So the first one is flaky buyers. And sometimes people change their mind and there's no fixing that. And recently I had that happen. Actually, Kelly went and showed a property for me. I was out of town and it was exactly what these people were looking for.
It was a beautiful home.
It was a beautiful home, fit all their criteria. All of their criteria was exactly what they wanted. And I'm out of town. I'm talking to them. And she's like, yes, it was everything that we wanted. And let's write the offer. We write the offer. We submit the offer. We haven't even, we're getting that offer accepted. I know we're getting that offer accepted, but we haven't even gotten to acceptance. And she's like, well, I feel like the backyard may not be perfect because now, there was a lot of foliage in the backyard.
They were gardeners there for sure. And they had some beautiful plants and bushes and stuff, which are not permanent fixtures. It's not like a brick wall or anything like that.
Call the landscaper, Landscape 321, and tell them to come clear the backyard. It was a beautiful backyard.
It was very pretty, yeah.
It just had a lot of foliage. Tell them to clear it out.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So here it is all these months later. I don't think she's bought a house yet. And she hasn't bought one for me. And and that house, so now we're trying to duplicate a house.
Yeah.
Can't duplicate that house.
No.
Can't duplicate that yard. Can't duplicate anything.
It was a great house, too.
It was a great house. So anyway, someone else bought it.
Yes. So the other way are inspections. So I've had so many, and I know you have too, where, sometimes there are issues in the inspection where sometimes it comes from a place of a buyer not being educated about the issues here that we experience in Florida with a home. And I find that often with people that are relocating here. They're like, oh my gosh, there's wood rot by the garage door.
Right.
That has to be fixed. And I'm like, okay. So like, this happens on brand new homes even, with 6 months in, it happens. It's moisture damage. It's not because there's termites invading the house, which even though it shows up on their termite report, that's very confusing to some buyers. So I feel like just having them get some education from the inspector is always a good idea. For the inspector to talk to them directly, like maybe they weren't able to come because they are out of the area and they had flown here to find the house, but now they're back home waiting for closing. So if they can talk to the inspector and say, what exactly is this? And the inspector can kind of explain it to them like they would have done during that walkthrough. I feel like that's helpful sometimes. Like a lifted shingle somewhere on the roof.
Yes.
It's not a big deal. These sort of things can be fixed.
Or staining on the roof decking from a previous roof leak from a previous roof.
Yes.
Because when they replace the roof, they don't always replace the roof decking underneath if it's not rotten. So sometimes they're up in the attic and they can see there's staining there.
Yeah.
But it's not wet.
No.
There's not a current leak.
I just had
the
this
roof
on
was replaced.
one that's closing this week. Yeah.
The roof was replaced a year ago. It's old staining.
Yeah.
Get over it. We're not going to, what are we going to do? Remove that section of the roof, replace that plywood
I feel like that's
point?
a bad idea a lot of times because now you're compromising what otherwise is a fine, and dandy roof. Like there's nothing wrong with it otherwise. So There are some things I feel like that are definitely and should be deal breakers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, bad sewer lines on a house.
Yes.
I've had this before where it came to the point where, guess what? Well, we're not moving forward because the seller's refusing to credit or repair. It's like, give them options. I would say give the seller options. Maybe they don't have the means to do it because it's expensive.
Right.
And they may be relying on the funds from closing to do anything. They might not have any cash flow available to them. And if they didn't list with a Compass realtor, then they don't have access to the concierge. So, or have them fix it, because as a buyer, if you're going to be moving into that home, are you able to deal with it yourself if you had the funds?
Right. And that's a big deal. Old septic tanks, old drain fields, these kinds of things are expensive. And if you can't renegotiate, there's no way you could have known it.
Right.
When you made the offer, it's not visible to you.
No.
It wasn't something that you're aware of. So you find this out during inspection and you expect to renegotiate these things.
Absolutely. I love when I see in the agent remarks, inspection is for informational purposes only and not as a tool to renegotiate. Well, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's dumb.
Because there's things that you can't see. If you want to do the full inspection and then disclose to me every known problem, and then I can bring you an offer based on that, fine.
Yeah, unless you've done all those things.
Yeah, you can't know.
Yeah. How can you say it's for informational purposes only?
Stuff like that can really deeply affect the value of the home.
Right.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely it does. If I have to pay $20,000 for a new septic tank and drain field, and you're saying, oh, well, that inspection was for informational purposes only. Well, I'm overpaying by $20,000.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm canceling.
For sure.
And so low appraisals are a thing.
Yes.
We're hearing about that. You just talked to a lender that you work with a lot.
Right. And they're seeing more and more of them. And not just low appraisals, but also appraisals that are coming in with bad scores. Like there's a system that rates them. I don't know the details on the name of the system or whatever, but if the number is too high on that score, then that means it needs a desk review by an underwriter. So they have underwriters in-house that will do a desk review of the appraisal and make sure that the comps that are being used are appropriate comps and matching it up and all of that. And I've had a couple come back that way. I had a recent closing where it came in for a desk review because the score was high, but it was fine. It just takes a couple of extra days when that happens before they can approve the appraisal. So you have to think about this too when you're writing in the contract, how many days for loan approval, because the appraisal is part of that process. Right. And you have to kind of think, okay, well, the appraiser might be able to get out quickly, but it might take a few extra days to get that back. So make sure you have the appropriate amount of time in for that.
And we're starting to do, so I just wrote a contract and I included an appraisal contingency, which we weren't doing for a long time, but I included it. Do I think that this property is going to appraise at the price we need? Absolutely. I 100% do. Yes. But I also don't think that the buyer should be penalized if it doesn't. No. So I included it. I talked to the agent about it. He's like, well, it's going to appraise. It's not going to have an issue. And I'm like, then you don't mind.
There should be no problem.
Then you don't mind that we're including that. And honestly, it's a safety thing right now because I did have another property. The appraisal came in low, and appraisers don't like to adjust even when you provide additional comps.
Right.
They don't want to change their appraisal.
It's kind of like you're telling them how to do their job. And
yes. And they get sanctioned. Yeah. They get sanctioned a lot of times by the appraisal management company or the lender. They'll get put on like a blacklist for a little while because why didn't you do it right the first time? Why is the realtor coming back and giving more comps? So yeah, low appraisals are an issue.
So to fix that, the seller can come down to the appraised value, which sometimes does happen.
Yes.
I've had that happen not too long ago on a house where it didn't appraise. We were very close in number, like a few $1,000s apart. And she's like, well, I want to sell my house, so I'm going to meet the buyer there.
Right.
But I don't think that I did not ask, does the buyer have any money to come up?
Right.
Is it possible?
Right.
And I talked to the lender specifically, not the agent, because I needed to hear it from the lender. And he's like, he has no money to do this.
Right.
So, okay. Then, we'll do what we have to do. Or, sometimes you can meet in the middle. Maybe the buyer's willing to pay a little bit because it's the right house.
Right.
And the seller's able to come down a little bit. And then I feel like that appeases both parties.
Yes.
As long as both parties are agreeing to that. So there are times when it's just too far apart or people are just too stubborn. Yeah. Sometimes it is just a little number, but nobody wants to budge. Right. So, then it'll fall apart.
It does. Yeah, it does. And so appraisals are an issue now. You need to pay attention to that. Make sure you have an appraisal contingency in your contract as a buyer, just
definitely,
to protect yourself.
Even though your agent is looking at the comps and giving you a good price, an appraiser is a human being.
Right.
And there's no way to get inside their brain and know know how they're going to rate that house.
And sometimes right now too, I think, because we talked about this in our last podcast, but the prices they're shifting a little bit. Yeah. They're all over the place. So you could find good comps and they're varying by a big degree. So it depends which ones the appraiser picks. So just protect yourself, put that in there.
The next one is sometimes this will happen. And if you have a good buyer's agent, this should not happen, but not being able to get insurance when you have a finance deal, because your lender is going to require you to get a homeowner's policy on the home in order to close. And this is something that you should catch during inspection. I know when we have our inspections done, we always immediately send the reports out to get quotes, and we ask, is there anything on these 4-point reports that would have to be corrected in order to bind the insurance policy? Right. So that we're getting very clear. Or is
the insurance so high that it's affecting the eligibility of the buyer? And the thing is that we're not telling you to use that insurance agent.
No.
You use whoever you want, call whoever you want, whatever. It's a sanity check.
It is.
It's a sanity check to make sure you can get insurance and you can afford the insurance.
Right. The affordability is a good point that I hadn't really thought about, but this is true because it is getting more and more expensive, where some of the numbers are like, really that much for this house? But
especially for investment properties.
Oh my gosh, so much money. Yeah, so much money. Don't get me started on the Airbnb ones. You need a separate
Everybody wants to buy an Airbnb, but they don't think about what their insurance is going to cost. And if they're financing it, the interest rate's about 3.5% higher for an investment property. So keep that in mind. Failing to qualify for a loan. Be sure to write it long enough. So this loan approval period, especially after the last contract change, which was like 2 years ago, but nobody really paid attention to it too much.
Right.
But you have to get your loan approval by that loan approval date or cancel.
Yes.
Or cancel.
Because otherwise you're going to lose your earnest money.
Yes.
Yes. And, maybe it's only a little bit of earnest money, but do you really want to walk away from $1,000 or $5,000?
Or $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever it is?
So much money.
So make sure. I had one that just canceled the one that I had that just fell apart, and literally got the cancellation at like 8 p.m. on the date. And there is some kind of new rule with 5 p.m. and cutoffs and everything like that. And I was like, we're not going to play that game. But there is some sort of new, get it in early. Don't wait till last minute.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So.
And then for the last one is what happens when the walkthrough goes bad. I know we both have stories where you go in there and either the seller made off with an appliance that they weren't supposed to.
Happens a lot.
It's like they're not paying attention to the contract.
Yeah, but you'll go in, the refrigerator's gone. The washer and dryer are gone.
Just little things.
Curtains.
Or the one that you had where it was like there was damage to the floor and the wall. You couldn't see it because there was furniture there previously. So
they had purposely covered it up. They had covered it up with rugs and furniture, and the inspector does not move that stuff.
Right.
And it was wood floors, and it was buckled underneath there. So you do the final walkthrough, you see this, and you're just, how did this happen? And they're like, we had no idea. So then you're thinking, well, it's happened since they moved out.
Right.
Yeah. They finally admit, oh, well, like a while back, we went out, or we were out of town or something. We left a window open. It stormed. It flooded the room.
Oh, my gosh.
So they knew about this and tried to hide it. And by the way, that's a reason why and there are agents who skip final walkthroughs. We've had it happen when we have a listing.
Yes.
And we're like, when are you doing your final walkthrough? And the agent will say, oh, I'm not doing it. It's fine.
Yeah, like we're mostly with out of area agents. Yes. I see this because they're like, I don't want to make that extra drive.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be signing remotely.
It's shocking to me. Like, do the final walkthrough. You don't know what's missing from the house. I remember an agent when the very first brokerage that I worked for, they went to do the final walkthrough. There had been a kitchen fire. That's
a big deal. Oh,
it was like the oven caught on fire. So the oven was destroyed. The surrounding cabinets were destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't tell anybody.
What?
Yeah.
They just thought it would be okay.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah. So they found that during the final walkthrough. Always do your final walkthrough.
Yeah. Because you can negotiate like holding money back at escrow or delaying closing if there's, huge issue. I just always remember the one that you did for me, that final walkthrough. where she took the refrigerator, but she left her dirty underwear.
She left her dirty underwear and other assorted
and
items.
Wasn't there like Happy Meal bags or something on the floor?
There was so much trash in that house. The house had full of trash, dirty underwear, stuff in the cabinets that they didn't want that they hadn't cleaned out.
She took
dirty.
the refrigerator, and then it was like, oh, well, we'll bring the refrigerator back. No, sir. Because who knows what has happened in that refrigerator now that it's been moved now twice.
Right.
So we would like money.
Yes.
And so he sent me a picture of the buyer after you negotiated the money for him. Of him at his front door on closing day he spread the money out like in a fan. It was like the best closing picture ever.
It was.
Yeah.
He was happy, but that house was filthy.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just, then you're walking in. But I've walked into plenty of houses where the washer and dryer are gone and they're like, oh, was that in the contract? Yes.
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 Read the contract.
You're with the buyer and you're like, what? Where's the washer and dryer? So make sure you walk through, make sure the light fixtures are still there, the chandeliers, the drapes. How many times have you walked through and the drapes are gone?
Yes. Or the TV mounts now are a thing too that people don't realize.
Ring doorbells.
Yes.
Like, read the contract.
Yeah.
Make sure you know what has to stay. What's a fix stays. Don't be taking that stuff out of the house. So, okay.
I'm sure there's many other ways a deal can go sideways that we haven't come upon yet because there's always new stuff every time. But that's our list for now.
Yeah. If you have any fun stories, you can share them with us.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear them. Yeah, we're getting some good comments now on our posts and when we post our podcast. So we do enjoy those.
Yeah, we do enjoy all the comments, even the ones that don't agree with us. That's what it's for, is to get the conversation started.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So if you're looking to buy or sell a house, please give us a call, 321-422-2160, or email us, hello@Coastal Estate Team. If you have any great ideas of things you'd like us to discuss, we would love to hear those as well.
Yeah, because then we won't have to decide on the way here what we're talking about.
Kelly organized all this, thank God. Oh thank you, Kelly. All right, we'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.
Sunny days, no clouds in the sky.